Hi, and welcome to this installment of Frank and Mary here in Westborough, the COVID-19 series. If you haven't seen this show before, you probably don't know me. I'm Art Bergeron. I'm an elder law attorney, but this has nothing to do with elder law. This has everything to do with my friends Frank and Mary, whose goal in life is to live in their house until they die and be buried in the backyard. And if you live in Westborough, they want to know, the show has been about what are the programs you need to know about, who are the people you need to know about in order to stay right here in Westborough. And so when COVID-19 started, Shelby Marshall, my wonderful co-host, and I, you all know Shelby, she's one of your wonderful selectmen, decided we'd try to just focus the show and make the show really weekly on how to deal with the fact that maybe you don't want to stay in the house all the time because you're stuck there now because of COVID-19. So what do you need to know about, or if you are stuck in the house, what are the resources that may be available to you to allow you to survive through all of this? So we've had great guests before, including one who was back today by popular demand. Shelby, who is our first guest today?
Excellent. Thanks, Arthur. Good morning. I'm so excited to have Cara Presley, our Director of Youth and Family Services, here with us today. I felt like it was important. Cara was on a couple weeks ago giving us an update, but I really wanted her to come back to give a new update because it's been a very dynamic situation. Youth and Family Services and our other Human Services Department have been very busy servicing the needs of our community, and I wanted our viewers to have a chance to hear from Cara again and understand a little bit more about resources that are available. And so, Cara, why don't you take it away?
And sure. Cara, once again, as I mentioned before the show, this is also because we got so much fan mail the last time talking about what a great guest you were, and we're inviting you back. So anyway, we're glad to have you back.
That's really nice. It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you for asking me. We have been very busy at Youth and Family Services supporting community members, particularly to address needs that have arisen around the current pandemic. I am actively participating in the task force in town, which is made up, as you might know, of folks from the town manager's office, from the Board of Selectmen, including Shelby, and also from Youth and Family Services, the Senior Center, Council on Aging, and with representatives from several nonprofit organizations in the community who have a mission to provide people with human services. So as part of that task force, the town has just started an information phone line that is available to you and all Westborough community members to call, to ask questions, to express your needs, to find out how to get connected to resources that you might need. So I want people to know that number right now. That number is 508-871-5111. 508-871-5111 is the number you can call Monday through Thursday, 8 to 5, and Fridays, 7:30 to noon, to ask your questions, state your needs, and get connected to resources for anything related to COVID-19 or the current situation that we're all in as we stay at home. Part of the needs that we expect to address are people's basic needs, like getting food and other everyday needs. So I'm happy to talk about that and other resources that I've put together on a resource list that I have been updating regularly.
That would be great, Cara.
I was going to say, Cara, by the way, it's just terrific that the town, that you folks have taken the initiative to actually have this kind of one point of contact phone number. For a lot of people like me who may not be following the daily briefings on the website and checking my Facebook page and all this stuff, to know that there's a number and to know you're going to call. And by the way, for folks who are hearing this, someone may not pick up, but that doesn't mean they're not there. These people are all working. They're checking this call. They're going to call you back, which is really important. It's great. Just great.
Yes, thank you for saying that. That is true. If you don't reach a live person, you will get a call back very quickly. And there is, for those of you who are more comfortable or interested in email, there is an email line to go along with this information line. And that email address is covidinfo@town.westborough.ma.us.
And we'll make sure we have both of those up on the screen through the marvels of technology.
Yes. Thank you. So I do know that Shelby wanted me to come on and talk a little bit about resources. So I'm going to look to you, Arthur and Shelby, to see what specifically you'd like me to share. But I just want folks out there to know that I have a comprehensive resource list available that is updated regularly. I've talked to Arthur about distributing that throughout Westborough, and that is also available on the town's website on the coronavirus page.
And as I mentioned to you, Cara, I'm going to be doing a mailing to Westborough seniors because would have done it anyway, because I typically mail to these folks to tell them about seminars that I'm doing in neighboring towns. Now, of course, everybody's Council on Aging Senior Center is closed, so we're doing them virtually. And the folks at Westborough Cable have been kind enough to say that they'll broadcast the seminar online. But I'm happy to enclose this new resource list with that mailing, which should be going out the end of this week or the beginning of next week.
Fantastic.
Right. It's wonderful.
Arthur, just for the audience, because I don't get your mailing, I must not meet your demographic criteria.
You're just way too young for my.
What is it for folks 70 and older? What's your demographic?
60 and older.
Okay, thank you.
60 and older, so that should be covering a pretty broad chunk of folks.
I'm just shy of that.
Right. Oh, she kills me. You folks just kill me. Okay. But yes, that'll be going out soon.
So, Cara, can you talk a little bit about food insecurity and resources that are available to folks today?
Absolutely. I think one of the greatest calls that we get on a regular basis at Youth and Family Services is from folks who don't have enough food during this time. Many folks, due to the coronavirus, have lost their jobs or are facing the need to feed their families more food because people are all at home and may have gotten food elsewhere during the days. And so it's just something that we're seeing across the board, all age groups, all socioeconomic levels, because these are unprecedented changes. So we have highlighted a few resources that I want you all to know about. The first is the food pantry. While the local food pantry is closed for in-person distribution, it is open to distribute food cards, grocery gift cards. And so if you call the food pantry, you can get a gift card for yourself, whether you've been a recent patron of the food pantry or never a patron of the food pantry. Call them, let them know that you would like a gift card, and they'll send you one in the mail. We also have food delivery and pickup through the Westborough Public Schools. Anyone who has school-aged children in Westborough is welcome to go pick up a meal, which includes breakfast and lunch on a daily basis from Hastings School or from Westborough High School at 9 o'clock in the morning. If you're not able to do a pickup and you require delivery, you may call one of the principals from any of the public schools and get signed up for food delivery. Food delivery is also available in some cases to seniors. Meals on Wheels continues, and the Senior Center and Youth and Family Services are really prioritizing food security and making sure that folks do not fall through the cracks. So if you're not sure if you're eligible for one of these programs or you don't know how to access them, please give us a call or call the information line that I shared with you before. Youth and Family Services can be reached at 508-366-3090.
So, Cara, just as we wrap up your update, and we'll transition to one of our guests who is going to talk specifically about caring for folks with dementia. The caregiving challenges have been immense for those folks that are now staying at home 24/7. Can you just refresh our viewers' memories of the resource line for counseling services through Youth and Family Services that kind of where people can call for help if they're kind of going stir crazy?
Well, we can provide some support in a crisis and some immediate just support and guidance to folks. So please call us at 508-366-3090. If you're a Westborough resident, you may also use Interface, which is a helpline that can set you up with therapy available through the video. And you can reach Interface at 888-244-6000. 6843. That's a free referral service that will connect you to therapy. But we're also happy to give you a hand with that and to provide whatever support we can on the phone.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Cara. Really appreciate your update. We could talk with you for hours. Arthur.
And there's no doubt that because of the fan mail, she's going to be back by popular demand in the near future. Cara, thank you so much.
Thank you, Cara.
I'll happily return.
Thank you.
Take care.
Hi, folks. Welcome back to this edition of Frank and Mary in Westborough, the COVID-19 edition. Our second guest of today's show is Tammy Pozerycki. Tammy is owner and founder of Alternatives in Alzheimer Care. She has, I won't go through her resume. She's got tons of experience, but we wanted Tammy to come on today to talk about the challenges of caring for someone 24/7 with dementia, all the more complicated now that we are social distancing and kind of sequestered in our homes. And Tammy, we talked about giving our viewers some tips and having a conversation about caregiver burnout, strategies, the importance of routine, etc. So you're the expert. You take it away. Inform us.
Well, my hope is that people can watch this who are caring for a loved one who living with dementia, because they're so taxed and for time and for effort. There's a lot that I can say. One resource I'm going to give you is actually a free caregiver sort of education support session I've put on for the last 4 weeks. I'm going to do another 4-week session because I don't know how these people are doing it. These adult daycares are closed, senior centers closed, family can't visit. They're afraid of getting home care in. This is really, it scares me. It scares me for the caregiver themselves and their mental health, as well as their physical health. And I guess the biggest thing is that because dementia affects people so individually, we don't know where your loved one's at cognitively or physically, or how much care that person actually is for you. The things that I do know that are factual are that keeping to that person's structure and routine as closely as possible, keeping a daily routine that they're waking a certain time, getting their breakfast, getting their shower done, getting activity, and we're going to talk a little bit about purposeful engagement for the day, lunchtime, rest time, afternoon, more physical stuff we're going to talk about, and then bed usual time. So the reason is because that person depends on it, and it will help you to come up with time for you. One of the things that we always worry about with caregivers, whether you have help or not, is you forget about you and how that's going to affect your mental health. So we talked about caregiver burnout, and the only way we're going to build resilience to that is if we clearly keep structure and routine and keep time for ourselves. I feel that it's important that you're getting good nutrition. It's important you're getting good sleep, good quality of sleep. Now that you're not able to get the help as much as you once were, I know that home care is out there. I know they're still taking on cases. They're being trained with PPE. They're being cautious about who they send in where. And yes, it increases your risk, but you can't do this alone. You need support. I've asked families to call upon other family members who don't have any exposure to COVID. In fact, for me, we've been taking care of our granddaughter on a weekly basis because our 2 children have to work, and they don't have any schools in session. We have limited our exposure. Everything's virtual, everything's online. So it's about being safe. Call upon those family members to come in, educate the family member on what their routine is, what they like to do, and then ask for help. And I think that's really hard for the caregiver who takes on the full burden. So in terms of engaging activity, we all need to remain physical. We all need to get outside. We all need exercise. Exercise is going to help everyone's mental health and physical health, because I think we're all sort of got that freshman 15 going on for sure, because we're wearing our sweats and we're expanding our diets and intake of food. So, but food, nutrition, and physical exercise are all going to affect our mood. One thing I want to point out is if I can ask caregivers to limit their exposure and their loved ones' exposure to the news. I myself have had to do that. We're in a time where people's anxieties are, people already have existing generalized anxiety disorder and depression. This has heightened everyone's. They talk about people now dreaming with getting COVID, having all this anxiety built up, actually developing panic attacks. And your mood is going to directly affect your loved one's mood. So if you're stressed, you're anxious, they can read it on your face. They can hear it in your voice. And it's important that we distance ourselves and sort of come up with, okay, tomorrow's a new day. What are we going to do that's different? So physically, if we can get out, now we haven't had the greatest weather, let's face it, right? But I'm hoping that's taking a turn, especially this weekend. Get outside, work in the garden, go for walks. The rail trails are great because they're flatter surfaces. Now, if the person is not as ambulatory, wheelchair, push them around, go out and sit at a park bench and watch I know some parks you can't do that even, but there are places that you can still go fishing, that you can actually take that person fishing. So getting out.
Right here in Westborough, we have beautiful Lake Chauncey. Even if you take a drive, roll down the windows and sit and look at the beautiful lake and see people walking by, it's like, it's a connection to, humanity and the community beyond, your walls. It's like, the fresh air is invigorating. So even if you physically can't do that, I know I've encouraged folks to just get out and take a drive, find a beautiful, beautiful spot to sit and watch.
Absolutely.
As a matter of fact, I was at Lake Chauncey this morning for sunrise. It was just stunning, It's the most wonderful place, right? And there are inevitably a couple of swans, right? There are things to see at Lake Chauncey, right?
Yeah,
and obviously, it's tough to get somebody who has some mobility issues to actually walk around some of those trails.
Yeah.
But as you say, Shelby, just to be on the side that has the beach. Yep. And to just enjoy some of that, it's a terrific thing. And going back to something that you had said, Tammy, I think one of the real challenges for folks right now is, as you say, you try very hard if you've got a loved one who's got memory issues, dementia issues, to build in a routine, right? So that because they are kind of living in kind of their own zone, but then all of a sudden through COVID, your own routine is just such a mess that you would tend to drop to, it'd be hard to keep that up because your own routine has really changed. So the challenge of first of all, keeping yourself healthy and then trying to help your loved one deal with these issues, that's got to be a huge
challenge. I've struggled. My whole life was turned upside down. My business has completely changed. My husband got laid off. We're looking at no health insurance. There's all these stressors, but in my experience, nothing compares to that person being stuck at home with their loved one living with dementia. There are online virtual support groups. There are online virtual memory cafes. There's the 1-800-272-3900 24-hour helpline with the Alzheimer's Association. You can call with a question. You can call in a crisis.
And can you do that number again? And I'm sure that our wonderful Aiden, our terrific technical person, will make sure that number is.
Yes, it's 1-800-272-3900. I have it ingrained in my brain because I was once a blind clinician. And sometimes the calls are like, I just don't know what to do. My loved one's getting dressed and thinking they're going to work and I can't stop them. I don't know what to do. So we're, on the calls that I'm giving some education, we're talking about safety. I have so many people that have left their loved ones at home alone because they got to run an errand, or they've left them in the car because they're just going to run in while the person waits in the car. And these are all things that are really risky, really, really risky.
And Tammy, so for the person caring for that individual who says, but I got to get food. So let's talk about that next step. And this is where I think, our prior guest, Cara, and certainly sort of representing our town human services team, this is where the town can help folks. So let's say that for whatever reason you can't afford or you're not comfortable in having a home care provider come in to help to be with your loved ones so you can go run those errands. Okay, so but you need groceries. Well, call the senior center. Call your senior center. Call the town's information line, 508-871-5111, and just say, here's my situation. I'm kind of stuck. I need some help. We will make sure you can give a grocery list, figure out how to pay for the groceries, whatever. We'll work through those details, and someone can do your shopping and bring it and drop it at the door. You won't ever have to kind of engage with them at an unsafe social distance, but there are ways in which we can help. Ideally, of course, you're able to get some respite and just get out and go browse through the grocery store. But if for some reason you can't, please don't, be food deprived. And, or, for the first time, you might want to ask about Meals on Wheels. Even if it's not something you've ever thought you would have to ask about, it's a way to have social engagement with the outside and you're getting food into your home.
Absolutely. And as far as engaging activities, we want to make sure that we set that person up for success. We relate that back to whatever the person likes to do, their interests. Music is everything. There's a program on Facebook now called Ageless Grace, connecting music and movement. The person and the caregiver can do it together. She's actually the founder of Ageless Grace, has been doing it on Facebook 1:00 in the afternoon and just kind of getting caregivers and their loved one together. There have been online sing-alongs for people living with dementia. A great website for caregivers is eldersong.com. That gives the caregiver a lot of books which cognitively they can work with the individual. Like if your loved one loves to do puzzles, which I've gotten back into painting, I've gotten back into puzzle making, and you may have an individual that can put together 1,000-piece puzzle, but maybe they struggle with that. So let's bring it down a notch, maybe 100-piece puzzle. So we want to make it and set it up for the success, letting them know that they can help you. Golden rule. If the person says, can I help you do that? Absolutely. Let them help with household activities. We have to lower our standards. Let
the person with who has some issues help with those activities.
Yes.
Yeah. Right. Tammy, can you give some other suggestions? Based those calls you heard where people are struggling, some other kind of engagement things. Things that people might be able to do around their home without having to go buy a puzzle or what have you. But can you give some other examples?
Well, what's funny, you can go on Pinterest or with our granddaughter, do you have a toilet paper roll? Do you have a paper towel roll where you can put wax paper and beans and make a rain stick? I mean, there's just so many things, artsy, craftsy stuff you could do. But I suggest music that the individual likes, sing-alongs, virtually. Now, if the person can sit in front of a computer, there's virtual museum tours. They can go to the aquarium. They can go to in San Jose, California, there's this house called the Winchester House, and they've never stopped building onto it, and they give a walk-through tour. These are the things that whatever will hold that person's attention, it might be an I Love Lucy episode, but again, it has to really relate to that person.
Right, which is why it's so individualized. But I just wanted, sometimes it's like the forest for the trees, right? When you're just kind of in your space, you kind of didn't go, or you might not go, oh, I never thought about I never thought about relating arts and crafts to what my husband used to do. To your point, if he was a tinkerer, there might be some safe ways to create a tinkering moment, or drawers,
Absolutely.
right?
Little
Rearrange.
busy boxes, right?
Yep.
Themed busy boxes. I want to stress to caregivers as well is that one of the things that happens with dementia that truly wears on the caregiver is the repetitiveness and the repetitive questions. And it's really hard not to just say, I just told you that, and get really frustrated. But they have to remember a lot of repetitiveness is coming from their insecurities, their anxieties, the asking the question all the time. They're looking for that basic sense of reassurance. And if we can help them with that, and I love the term a fiblet, when that's a therapeutic non-truth. If we have to get into their reality and reassure them that way, because I've even worked with caregivers over the virtual thing, their loved ones hallucinating. What do? They're seeing things crawling. They're seeing a stranger in the house and trying to work through it. These are things you call the helpline for.
Yeah,
Right.
I can't stress that helpline enough. The Alzheimer's Association is such an amazing a resource. I've heard families who have accessed it, and it can be life-saving in a crisis moment.
Right. And so the notion of really kind of going to their reality as opposed to trying to impose another reality, but connected to one of the things you said from the beginning. Also, to the extent that you can, keep them away from the current reality, right? There's nothing especially good about the current reality, right? So the news shows, the talk about it, so that because it just is going to raise anxiety for absolutely no point.
Well, there's so much uncertainty. I mean, all of that is stuff you can't control, as opposed to you can control the experience you have by taking that fresh air ride or going for a walk, around kind of the block. But you can't control the information that is so uncertain right now coming through any news channel.
Like that's what I recommend to people too. Get your facts straight through the most reputable. David, my husband, will get, and he signed up for the governor's updates, because that's all I need to know. I don't need to know how many thousand more people have died and the ridiculous absurdities that people have been talking about on the news. And you're right, Arthur. We don't need to listen to that stuff.
You just don't need it. So Tammy Pozerycki, Shelby, this was a great guest. As you know, I've worked with Tammy now for a lot of years, and she's just so special because she has that wonderful, experientially based understanding of living with all of these issues day to day, which is just terrific. So I know we're close to time, but I just wanted to make sure that I just thank you, Shelby, for finding these continuously great guests. And
thank you for asking me too. I appreciate it.
You've done a great job of moving from your daily work at what was Pleasantries, helping people every day, to now this more broader advice to folks, which is just great. So thank you so much. And Shelby, thank you for another great show, folks. I hope you enjoy these shows. Once again, if you ever if there's a particular show that you want us to do, let us know. Contact Westborough Cable, and we should get Westborough Cable to give you their number too, because we're happy to do it. In the meantime, we hope you've enjoyed the show. We'll look forward to seeing you on the next installment of Frank and Mary here in Westborough, the COVID-19 series. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.